line and an embarrassment.
Sit down and don't play this stuff.
The next shooting is right now, and you are doing nothing.
No, he needs to get his ass out of here. This isn't the place to talk this over.
This is totally predictable when you...
Sir, you're out of line. Sir, you are out of line. Sir, you are out of line. Please leave this auditorium. I can't believe you're a sick son of a bitch that would come to a deal like this to make a political issue. It's on assholes like you. Why don't you get out of here?
GOP gun on people.
It is absolutely wrong. In fact, it is insane. The governor talks about mental health. It is insane that we allow an 18-year-old to go in and buy an AR-15. What the hell did we think he was going to do with that? This one is on us.
And what do you say to Texas Governor Greg Abbott, who says now is not the time to make this political?
Now is the time to stop the next shooting. Right after Santa Fe High School was the time to stop the next shooting. Right after El Paso was the time to stop the next shooting. Right after Midland, Odessa was the time to stop the next shooting. And in each case, we say this isn't the time. Now is the time, like literally right now. That's why I'm here. That's what we want as a state. That's what I want as a parent. I've got 3 kids who are in high school and middle school and elementary school. That's what they want. And I face their judgment and my conscience and ultimately my maker for what I do when I have the chance to change this. And I'm going to do everything in my power to change this. And I am not alone. The majority of Texas is with us on this right now. The majority of Texas is not reflected by that governor or those people around the table who talk about mental health care or say that this is pure evil or that it was absolutely unpredictable. This is predictable. It will happen, and it will continue to happen until we change course. We've got to change course.
This is exactly how every single Democrat should be dealing with those in power. If every Democrat who's actually in power isn't doing at least as much as Beto to hold Republicans to account after this latest shooting in Texas, if not more, then they are not doing enough. Here, Beto confronts the Texas leadership after yet another perfunctory press conference where they use their solemn voices to pretend that it was just inconceivable that there would be another mass shooting in a country where there is a mass shooting every single day. And the way that they're going to prove to you just how distraught they are over this, just how unacceptable this is by doing exactly nothing. That's right, Republicans want you to know that they really care by refusing to enact a single gun safety measure, because that ought to do it. The simple fact is this: these shootings are not new. These shootings are not a surprise. And so knowing that they are an inevitability in this country, if you do not do anything to stop them, and you have the power to, then you are complicit. You don't get to pretend after the 100th shooting of the year that we didn't know it was coming. So if you're the governor of Texas, if you're the attorney general of Texas, if you're a Texas legislator, if you're a legislator in any state, if you're in Congress or in the Senate, it is incumbent on you to do something. This is your job. If there's a pothole on the road, it's up to the city to fix it. If mass shooters are slaughtering Americans on a daily basis, then it's up to legislators to fix that. And if you fail to fix it, if you fail to do your job, then that is blood on your hands. And it's not as if nothing can be done. Pass a federal red flag law, raise the age to buy guns to 21, close the Charleston loophole, which allows gun purchases to move forward by default after 3 business days, even if a background check hasn't been completed, confirm an ATF, Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms Director, pass H.R. 8, the Universal Background Checks Act, a bill that 90% of Americans support. 90%. There is a problem when 90% of Americans support something while 0% of Republican elected officials do. And that problem is that these Republicans are not representative of their constituents. They represent the gun lobby. And at some point, Republican voters have a decision to make, if ostensibly they don't want more kids to get slaughtered. They have to decide if voting for people who simply refuse to reject the gun lobby is worth more people dying at grocery stores and malls and concerts and churches and movie theaters and elementary schools. This isn't about shaming Republican officials. It's not about persuading them. It's not about changing their minds. They are immovable. They do not care. They've sat idly by as hundreds and thousands of Americans have been slaughtered due to gun violence, and they've done nothing so far. Because there is no number of dead Americans, no number of dead children that will ever be enough for them to change their minds. So the voters have to decide if those are the people that they want to give power to. You won't change their minds, but you could elect someone else who's actually willing to do something, anything to help. And by the way, you know what really pisses me off about the clip that you watched before? While Beto was being escorted out of the press conference, one of those clowns on stage ginned up some faux outrage and said, "I can't believe you would make something like this a political issue." Mass shootings are political. They have always been political. Republicans literally run touting their ratings from the NRA in their political campaign ads. They take millions upon millions upon millions of dollars from the gun lobby, and we're supposed to believe that guns aren't political? The only reason that these shootings keep occurring on a monthly, weekly, daily basis with zero recourse, zero consequences, is because gun manufacturers and the gun lobby have tied themselves directly to Republicanism. They have become synonymous with the Republican identity. Notice how the people who keep telling you not to politicize shootings immediately after they occur, like Greg Abbott and Ken Paxton and Ted Cruz and the rest of these Texas Republicans that we saw earlier, are the same people who spent every day before that politicizing guns and touting their NRA endorsements and eliminating background checks and doing away with permits to carry. Weird how guns were okay to politicize then, but as soon as those guns are used, well, we couldn't dare politicize what's happened. The fact is that these shootings are preventable. We don't need thoughts, we don't need prayers, we don't need your deepest condolences, we don't need your most fervent sympathies, we need action. If you are not as angry as Beto, you are doing it wrong. If you're gonna get to this after the Senate recess, you are doing it wrong. If you're gonna wait on Republicans to find a conscience, you are doing it wrong. These kids died because no one did anything to stop it after the last mass shooting. This is our warning, today. So two things should happen here. Democrats in charge should bring any and every bill to the floor for a vote, which I believe Leader Schumer is in the process of doing right now. If these Republicans consider dead kids a necessary sacrifice to make the NRA happy, then make sure they're on record. Make sure everyone knows. Make sure to tie those dead bodies to the people on the right who refuse to do anything to save them. And two, for those of you watching, know that there is only one party that sees what's going on in this country and views it as unacceptable. There is only one party willing to do anything in the face of these daily rampages in our schools and neighborhoods. Like I said before, you will not move Republicans. If they haven't acted by now, they won't. No body count is going to change their minds. So please, go to your circle of people and make sure that they exercise their right to vote this November. If you know anyone who's just turned 18 or 19, make them your responsibility. If you have a family member who identifies as independent or politically neutral, let them know what's at stake. If you have a friend who thinks that politics don't impact their lives, and we all have that person, explain the impact that it's had on the victims' families in Texas this week, on the victims' families in Buffalo, in El Paso, in Dayton, in Las Vegas, in Orlando, Virginia Tech, Sutherland Springs, Sandy Hook, Parkland, San Bernardino, Fort Hood, Thousand Oaks, Pittsburgh, Santa Fe, and that list will keep growing until and unless we take power away from the people who allow it to keep growing. To see more videos like this, click the subscribe button right here on this screen. And to support my work beyond that, check out my podcast, No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen, where I cover the week's most important stories and interview the biggest players in the world of politics, including President Biden, Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, Elizabeth Warren, Katie Porter, and so many more. The link is also right here on this screen. And finally, to take action yourself and sign petitions on the most important issues, go to briantylercohen.com/petition.